I'm going to be showing you some movements, but first I'm going to start with some definitions of movements. Flexion is a bending movement in which the relative angle of the joint between two adjacent segments decreases. So this would be flexion of the arm. Extension is the action in which the relative angle between two adjacent segments gets larger. So as the arm extends, the angle is getting larger. Rotation is a movement about an axis of rotation in which not every point of the segment or body covers the same distance in the same time. Abduction is a movement away from the midline of the body, so when the arm is getting abducted from the midline of the body. Adduction is a movement toward the midline of the body, so the arm comes from here towards the midline of the body. Supination is a movement in which the back or dorsal surface rotates upward, as seen in the forearm or foot. So this is supination. Pronation is a movement in which the front or ventral surface rotates to face downward, as seen in the forearm and foot. Supination. Or pronation, sorry. Circumduction is a movement that is a combination of flexion, abduction, extension, and adduction. Elevation is the opposite of depression, which is a lifting movement of a body part, such as a shoulder shrug. Depression is a lowering movement of a body part, such as the scapula, so instead of going up, you go down into depression. The anatomical position is when your palms are facing the same way as your body, so your palms are up, and you're just standing. You can be laying down, but basically your palms are facing upward, and you're lying on your back or facing towards the front. The movements of the neck are flexion, which is going down, extension is coming up, and rotation is moving to the left to the right. Shoulder elevation, as we talked about earlier, is like a shoulder shrug. Shoulder depression is going down. Shoulder abduction is taking your shoulders away from the midline of the body. Shoulder adduction is taking your shoulders closer to the midline of the body. Shoulder flexion is also coming up. Shoulder extension is going back. And circumduction is like arm circles. Actually, take that back. Shoulder flexion is moving your arm up. Shoulder extension is taking it back. And shoulder circumduction is doing arm circles. Actions of the wrist and arm. You have flexion of the wrist. You have extension of the wrist. Supination is your palm up. Pronation is your palm down. And abduction of the fingers is when they come apart from the midline of the body. And adduction of the fingers is when they come together towards the midline of the body. Movement of the trunk is flexion as you bend forward, extension as you come up, and rotation as you go left to right. Movement of the hip, you have hip flexion as you come up with your leg, hip extension as you bring your leg back, and then again we have abduction, adduction, and circumduction. Movements of the knee, we have knee flexion as you bring your leg backwards, your knee is getting flexed. Knee extension, your knee is going forward. And now we have the last movements of the ankle. We have plantar flexion, where your toes are pointed downward. Dorsiflexion, where your toes are pointed upward. Inversion of the ankle, when your ankle rolls to the outside. And eversion of the ankle, where your ankle rolls to the inside. Those are the movements of your different body parts. Thank you.